Hi, I'm Dr. Karen Cassidy from the Anxiety Treatment Center of Greater Chicago, and it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Julieanne Pojas. And Dr. Pojas is one of our terrific staff who specializes in working with young adults and older teens, and she also has a wonderful specialty area that not many people do, and that is working with people and kids who have hoarding difficulties. So Julieanne, I'd love you to tell me, what is it that you love about working with emerging adults?
So what I love about working with emerging adults is that the transition from teenage years to young adulthood is actually a really fun and empowering time of their lives. And some young adults don't have the skills that they need in order to be able to live independently and kind of benefit from being independent. So what I really love teaching them is being able to learn the coping skills that they need to manage their anxiety. So if they're struggling with preparing for their finals or preparing for other tests that they're taking, or being able to deal with a roommate that they're having conflict with, or just being separated from their parents, learning how to deal with those life stressors on their own is a really empowering thing for them, but also for me as well.
Yeah, it really is a pleasure to see some of our young adults come in and be afraid that they can't do anything, and then to really become fully independent, functioning young adults who are seeking a job, getting a job, finishing their studies, managing difficult relationships, and doing all those skills that are so important. If you were working with a young adult who had anxiety, what would be 2 hot tips that you would want to give them?
I'd say that one hot tip is to accept their anxiety and be able to just acknowledge that they're having it, and it's completely normal given the situation that has been brought to them. Things are very brand new, and so it's normal to feel anxious. The second hot tip that I would say is taking care of yourself, self-care. So things like exercise, eating well, being able to take a step back when they absolutely need to kind of figure out what they need to do.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned self-care, because national statistics show us that young adults are not engaging in the level of self-care that they need to engage in, and they're shortchanging sleep, nutrition, exercise, and that can have a profound impact. What do you think the impact is on a young adult's life when they aren't getting regular sleep, good nutrition, and regular exercise?
Well, that can have a really big impact on their mood and their ability to concentrate on their studies and doing their homework. And these people might want to be able to, perform well in their classes, but because they're not getting, the proper sleep or nutrition or exercise, that they're not able to perform at the level that they would like to.
Right, and actually one of the things that we see is we now have research showing that inadequate sleep, poor diet, lack of exercise is a big risk factor for both anxiety and mood disorders. And so those are wonderful points to bring out. If you had a young adult that was scared about doing exposure therapy, where they have to practice their things they're scared of, what would you tell them?
I tell them that it's okay to be scared and that they can push through. So if they acknowledge that the fear is normal, and kind of accept that feeling and still push through anyway, that's what I would recommend for them.
Absolutely. And in fact, one thing we see is a mistake a lot of young adults make is that they feel like it's bad to be distressed, especially anxious, and that you should pamper yourself and slow down instead of learning to push through it and master it. And we love giving young adults mastery of anxiety as opposed to having to run from it. If you were working with the parents of a young adult, what piece of advice would you want to give them?
The piece of advice I would like to give the parents would be that it's okay to feel uncomfortable. It's okay to feel that this is a difficult time for you, but just to kind of encourage and support their kid to kind of push through the experience and to normalize their anxiety as well. Parents could definitely benefit from seeking help themselves if they're having trouble managing their own anxiety throughout the transition. So that's the advice that I would give parents.
Yeah. And lastly, I'd love to find out, what is it that gives you such joy and makes it so fun to work with young adults?
I think that what makes it so much fun is that I love seeing the self-confidence that comes out of being able to do things more independently and being able to accomplish a lot of tasks on their own. I think it's very empowering for them.
Julieanne, thank you so much for meeting with me, and we look forward to working with you, and I know you're really going to enjoy working with Dr. Julieanne Pojas.